Four students from Idaho University were found stabbed to death inside their off-campus house after returning home from a normal Saturday night in November 2022. Investigators later discovered that while some of them were still awake inside the house, a masked man had already entered through the kitchen and moved through the rooms unnoticed. Late night, outside a food truck in downtown Moscow, Madison Mogan and Kaylee Goncalves laughed with friends before returning to the King Road house, while Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernadle arrived separately after a nearby party. Inside the dark three-story home, the other roommates in the downstairs room heard footsteps, closing doors, and quiet conversations slowly fade, floor by floor. Around 4 a.m., a white sedan circled the neighborhood near the house several times, before disappearing briefly into the darkness behind the property. Inside the downstairs kitchen, the sliding glass door near the back of the house remained unlocked, as faint footsteps moved through the hallway, while some of the residents were still awake. On the third floor, Kaylee and Madison fell asleep together in the same bedroom, while Ethan rested beside Xana downstairs near the hallway. Minutes later, slow footsteps moved up the staircase connecting the floors, as the house remained silent enough for even small sounds to carry through the walls. A surviving roommate downstairs woke suddenly, after hearing what sounded like Kaylee running upstairs with the dog, before a female voice quietly said, "There's someone here." When she opened her bedroom door, the hallway outside looked empty, but faint movement could still be heard above her ceiling. Inside Xana's room, muffled crying echoed through the second floor, as the killer closed the door from inside the room, so that no sound could escape the darkness. A calm male voice then said, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," before the sounds inside the house abruptly stopped. The downstairs roommate opened her door one final time, and saw a tall figure dressed in black clothing and a mask covering his nose and mouth. He moved without panic or hesitation toward the kitchen sliding door, before he disappeared into the darkness outside. Late morning, repeated phone calls and messages inside the house went unanswered, while the surviving roommates became increasingly frightened by the silence upstairs. Friends entering the residence discovered Ethan and Xana inside Xana's second-floor bedroom, while Madison and Kaylee were later found together in Kaylee's third-floor room, above them. Police entering the house found signs of a violent struggle, frozen across the upper floors, with personal belongings, food containers, and half-finished routines still untouched from the night before. Near Madison and Kaylee upstairs, investigators recovered a knife sheath left beside the bed, becoming one of the first pieces of evidence connecting the attack to a single unknown person. As fear spread across Moscow, students began locking doors, avoiding late-night walks, and sleeping with lights on, while investigators reviewed surveillance footage showing a white sedan speeding away from the area around the estimated time of the killings. The case finally shifted when authorities traced the vehicle movements, phone records, and DNA evidence to a criminology PhD student living across state lines in Washington. Weeks later, authorities arrested Bryan Kohberger during an early morning raid at his family home in Pennsylvania, after tracing the knife sheath DNA, vehicle footage, and cell phone data back to him. Investigators later stated that, while some of the victims were still awake inside the house, the person responsible had already entered through the kitchen and moved silently through the darkened rooms, unnoticed. Investigators never established a confirmed motive for why Bryan Kohberger targeted the house, but the repeated cell phone movements near King Road before the murders suggested the residents had been watched long before that night. The possibility that the victims were chosen through quiet observation rather than personal connection became one of the most disturbing unanswered questions in the entire case. Follow for more real cases that still leave unanswered questions, and comment what you think Bryan Kohberger was really searching for during those repeated late-night visits near the King Road house.